David Castle is a 25-year health and fitness industry veteran with an expertise in biomechanics, which is the examination of movement. He's also the co-founder of Industry Aligned, which addresses the physical health of beauty professionals. If you missed the last conversation that we had, you should definitely go back and watch it. You can learn a little bit about his story, and we touch on a few things. Today, we're going to address and dispel common current misconceptions about health and fitness. Think our three topics are cold plunge, intermittent fasting, and resting after a day's work. Welcome back to the Hairdresser Strong Show. My name is Robert Hughes, and I'm your host. Today, I'm with David Castle. How you doing today, David?
Doing great, man. Thanks for having me back, bro.
Awesome. Well, so anybody who didn't watch or listen to your previous episode, would you give us like a high-level recap of your story getting into this and building Industry Aligned?
Yeah, sure thing. So I'll try to keep it a little bit shorter this time. So I've been in the industry, health and fitness industry, for 25 years. I've been doing this for an extremely long time at a relatively young age, so to speak. So I've been doing this all across the nation, helping people with various pain points and helping them get stronger throughout the years. And it doesn't matter if you started at the age of 8 to 88. I've worked with everyone in between, various vocations. I'm now diving directly into the beauty industry. I'm working with hairdressers specifically, working with nail techs specifically, and estheticians specifically. So one of the ways that we're trying to gain some awareness is having people understand that their physical health is extremely important behind the chair, and that they're the tool. It's not just your blow dryer, it's not just your roll brush, it's not a special chair, it's not special shoes. You're the tool, so you need to be physically prepared for the demands of your job. And I work with my the love of my life and my business partner, Jenny Kahn.
Nice. Awesome. Cool. Okay. So, something you touched on, I feel like maybe if there's time for that at the end, you talked about like the new tool with the new shoes. I know plenty of people who got like the latest gadget to release this plot or this spot. So I
Cool.
think we'll if we have time, I would love to hear you talk about that a little bit. Okay, so like in my introduction, and I mentioned, and like you and I talked before the show and talked about like common or like trending workout or diet stuff. And so you came up with the cold plunge, which I'm going to ask you to explain us what that is and what it's supposed to do, what is, if you were a lay person with no real education in health or fitness, and what would you think cold plunges, and same with intermittent fasting. And then after that, we're going to talk about, like every day after work, like I need a beer and a lazy boy, or whatever, I need to relax and lay down and whatever. And we're going to talk about why that most of us, I believe most of us, and I don't want to talk for anybody, but and I would be surprised if it wasn't. Most of us believe that is what you should be doing after work. And we're going to find out if that is actually what you're supposed to be doing after work. Okay, so first and foremost, let's start with the cold plunge. Talk to me about what exactly is this cold plunge?
So cold plunge has been around for a long time. So it started off with contrast showers or contrast temperature adjustments, where people would get in extremely cold environments and extremely warm environments. It actually started off in more Nordic cultures, Swedish cultures, things like Swedish, Denmark, and also Finland, where they would jump into very cold lakes and then they get into their saunas. They're very big on their saunas out there. So that's slowly migrated over to Western society, so to speak, in America, where now we're going a little bit more extreme with it, as we tend to do. So you've probably seen this if you're on Instagram or TikTok or anything else, with people just dumping themselves in baths full of ice, and they're hanging out there and they're shaking and they're breathing through it. Some people are meditating through it. Awesome. Great. So what most people think this is doing is it's reducing inflammation. There's too much total body inflammation. And in some cases, in some people's health, that's absolutely the case. But you would need to get various markers tested to actually understand if you have too much inflammation. Some inflammation and even a lot of inflammation is actually a good thing. It's a positive thing because it's how your body recovers from stress. It's how your body heals itself. Is it brings, say you have some wrist trauma, inflammatory properties. It creates inflammatory properties and localizes them to help you heal. Most people are familiar with icing immediately after they get an injury, right? You get your boo-boo and you put your ice pack on there. Not necessarily a bad thing, but think about what ice does. It slows down and even stops the flow of things. What we should be doing, and most science actually directs us towards this now, is heat treating these things. We want to increase and perfuse the area with as much blood, as much IGF-1 and other healing properties and inflammatory properties as possible. So when people are jumping into these ice baths, I think they're also eliminating stress. They're actually upping stress. Now, for some people like top tier athletes that have been using this a little bit longer, NFL athletes and various mixed martial arts athletes, you're actually upping your mentality to tolerate more stress and accommodate more stress load. For them, that's not a bad thing because they need to be able to deal with a lot of stress during the trauma of their specific environment and for their specific event. But most people aren't really accommodating to stress the right way. So we internalize stress, we're uncomfortable all the time, we're in a lot of pain, we don't address it, we don't treat our body well, we don't eat, sleep, or drink the right way. Our mentality isn't in the right place, right? So mental health is a component of physical health. A lot of times people want to segment these two, they're actually completely integrated. So to actually sit into an ice bath and create more trauma and more stress for yourself when you don't actually know how to deal with your own internal stress, I think is a negative. It's a net negative. And what I'd like to see people do if they're interested in something like that, just to actually mentally challenge themselves, stand in a cold shower, right? You can even heat it up first and then go into that contrast, like I was saying earlier, that most cultures have been doing for an extremely long time. But don't think you need to dunk yourself in a bucket of ice water to cure yourself or to take care of anything or to bring down this three-headed devil of inflammation, right? Again, we need some in our body.
So what is this the thing people stand inside and it like uses like
Cryotherapy.
cryotherapy? Is that
Yeah.
in the same thought process or realm, or is that something different?
Same vein there too, right? You're actually crying, and again, I understand how the science can be misinterpreted in this regard because they're very similar. Heat shock proteins and cold shock proteins. Obviously, cold ones are emitted when you're in these extremely cold environments. Again, if your body is accepting a specific amount of tolerance of stress, not a bad thing. But if you're thinking this is going to be a cure-all and a fix, and you're not getting other lifestyle factors in order, that's where you need to start first. We're always looking for these one things, this one shot, this one hit. Here's one food, here's the one thing that I do, and it solves all problems. It is cumulative, so don't think this is going to be the magic pill, like other people offer you a magic pill on the internet to take care of a problem that really you need to address in steps.
All right, well, I'll cancel that for this weekend. I'm just kidding. All right, okay. So the next one, intermittent fasting. So this is actually something that I do. So I'm very curious to know what you say about that. And I don't know. I think I did it. I don't think I did it for weight. I think I did it. Oh, I had a friend who was like, he went kind of down a rabbit hole on a bunch of different stuff. And he was telling me about intermittent fasting and how he uses it to build discipline in his life. Because it was, he's like very fit. I mean, he was trying to like shred. So I think he was using it for that purpose as well. But I really was drawn to the brain activity and then I experienced this heightened brain activity after a certain period of fasting. However, I get off work, and if you stand between me and my food, I'll probably bite your head off. And my wife and I are partners in Hairdresser Strong, and I've actually had to adjust on days that I know we're working. I have to make sure that I eat something during the day because, like, my mood is so much better now. I don't know if, as far as like weight, and like I definitely have some fat to drop. And I would say that it might be helping maintain my weight. Like I feel like maybe if I was intermittent fasting and eating the way I do at night, maybe I would have gained a lot more weight. I don't know. But I'm very curious to say. So first of all, could you describe intermittent fasting to us and what any benefits are they supposed to deliver?
Sure. So when we're looking at just a general understanding of intermittent fasting, we're looking at an isolated window in which we actually use nutrition and we take care of ourselves with food, right? So it can be an 8 hour window, a 6 hour window, it could be a 12 hour window. These vary. Like there's no real specific context in that sense. It's just kind of whatever camp you're subscribing to at the time, or whatever fits into your day. Maybe it's a scheduling thing and it works better for you. So there are a few things that actually can be touted that are genuine, and there's real science behind intermittent fasting. And one of those things is you can create, like you said, some higher brain function. And this is a temporary thing. It's because your brain is actually swimming in carbohydrates. It's swimming in glucose. So that fluid is sugar water. So every time you have a thought, every time you have a nerve twitch, every time you move your body, it soaks up some of this glucose, this sugar water, these carbohydrates. So you're actually soaking up a little bit more of that, and you're giving your stomach a little bit more time to rest, more rest and digest. So now your brain can have a little bit of additional power because our digestion is technically always in motion. There's always a peristaltic action or a gastrointestinal wave that moves food or bacteria through your body. Think of that stomach rumbling sensation. That's moving bacteria even if there's nothing in your belly. So it's a good thing. So it can be an energy saver at times. And you can flip the switch on upstairs a little bit more efficiently or effectively in moments. Now, when we're looking at doing this long term, we need to understand that it's about calories in versus calories out, even if you're not talking about a weight loss or weight gain equation. You need enough calories to have your brain function, to have your heart function, your lungs, and your other internal organs, to be able to create movement and function, to have nerves fire. This is an essential thing. So you can, over time, have a calorie restricted place where your body can start to pull from your own energy, your own body. It'll pull from muscle, connective tissue, fat, whatever, right? Because it's starving, it'll eat itself. And everyone's kind of familiar with maybe that term of starvation survival mode, right? Your body technically is never in that because we always have an abundance of something on us, right? There's always something. And what I mean by that is even if you're extremely lean, 3% body fat, body has connective tissue and muscle it can pull from. Your body can actually pull from its organs and start to eat those as well. So it's something to be aware of when you're messing around with these things, understanding that your body's always going to find the most efficient way to survive. What do you have on your body to provide for it, right? And it's always going to go for the more nutritious stuff, the stuff that has the most nutritional density. That's not body fat. It's actually going to go towards muscle tissue because those are amino acids. Those are exciting for your body. That helps, again, facilitate nerve function. That's its primary focus. So going back to like the scheduling thing, if your schedule just doesn't allow for you to eat and you can take in enough calories within a 24-hour period to keep your body functioning optimally, sweet, right? If you're looking to use it for weight gain and you're in a little bit of a caloric deficit, or weight loss, sorry, and you're in a little bit of a caloric deficit, sweet. But if you're finding yourself ravenous at the end of the day, and your blood sugar levels aren't a little bit level. And what I mean by that is everyone's concerned with blood glucose. Like, oh, am I going to put myself into like a pre-diabetes type situation? It's a little bit more rare than you think. You have to abuse your body for a significant period of time, or you need to have the genetic propensity towards that, right? So if we're looking at just kind of creating a total energy structure, maybe it's not the best thing if you feel ravenous at the end of the day. Maybe it's better that you start your day with a little bit of food, and maybe you do have a little bit of a break in between, but you break that fasting period a little bit sooner. Again, everyone is a little bit more individual and it's individually dependent. But one thing that I notice with beauty professionals specifically is they don't eat throughout the day anyways because of the way they book themselves. They're taking care of other people and they're not addressing and taking care of themselves. So I don't think it's the best strategy long term. Can it be done? You can do pretty much anything you want with your body until you can't, right? Until your body says, fuck you no more. So be aware of that too. Listen to the signs. If it worked for you for a little bit, but it's not working now, maybe it's time to have a different strategy because there's no one box you need to check only. You can adjust. You can make your own form of intermittent fasting. These aren't scientific techniques that are so profound. They're going to give you, again, some enlightenment or give you, like we talked about with the cold plunge. It's not this one pill that's going to solve all problems. Are you having enough nutritional density at the totality of your 24 hours? That's the main ticket there.
Gotcha. Cool. Okay. Now, R&R. So, something that if you're listening or watching and you did not watch David's co-founder Jenny talk about her experience developing this with David, then I think it's really important to listen up because something that she said talked about like what are we doing, how are you working on your body after a long day of work? Well, I mean, I personally love. I mean, my wife and I have been working for years to get me to come home after work and not just go to the bar or across the street and like sit at the bar and have a drink. And that's like been my way of relaxing. Now a bar, you're sitting like this and, you're not, there's no back to the chair always. And now, but that's not really the conversation we're having. But I'm just saying like, what are people doing? A lot of people want to go home and rest or like put their feet in a massage machine or sit in the shampoo bowl that has the shiatsu whatever massagers. So could you talk to us a little bit about rest and relaxation in general and also specifically after a day of working behind the chair?
Sure. So I think that rest in general is either often self-prescribed too much or overprescribed too much from doctors and practitioners. Rest isn't recovery. It's a component of recovery, but it's not going to, again, it's not that one pill that's going to solve everything. Are you tired at the end of the day? We all are. I have a very physically demanding job too, 100%. But it's important to unglue and undo these positions that you've been in all day. Get into opposite shapes. If you've been rounding forward throughout the day, maybe you need to get up and extend your spine in the opposite direction to start to balance out that structure throughout that you've been beating down throughout the day, kind of reverse engineering the process, right? We also want to think about creating more blood flow and oxygen to these muscles that have been locked down all day. Our body is technically starving for oxygen. It's got plenty of blood flow, but as we stand here, you and me having this conversation, even as I'm lightly moving around, my body is hypoxic, which means it's starving for oxygen. So you actually need to bring oxygen and blood flow purposely into specific areas, especially areas that have high trauma, chronic trauma, or dysfunction. You need to help create an environment of recovery. And we often, like I said, I don't think there's anything wrong with going and decompressing at the bar. I don't think there's anything wrong with putting your foot in that foot massager. It sounds fucking great right now, honestly, right? Nothing wrong with these things, but you need to also be physically active. We're such a passive society. We think that doing all these passive things is the right answer, but we're getting sicker. We're getting more unhealthy. We're in more pain than we've ever been. We're more obese than we've ever been as a society. By the year 2023, we'll be over 50% of our population will be obese, morbidly obese. That's dangerous. And again, me doing this for 25 years, I've not seen people get better. I've watched them fucking decline. And it's scary to me. It's disheartening to me. And I feel things on a global scale when I see this. I see children getting hurt. I see mothers getting hurt. I see fathers getting hurt. And I see people mistreating each other because they don't know how to treat themselves. We need to start to wake up and take action. So do all the stuff that makes you feel like you're getting a breath and you're decompressing. Keep those things for you. But it's also a requirement as a functioning, living, breathing human being to address some of your problems. So please lean into some of the active modalities and not just the passive. Don't just sit there and think a massage makes my pain go away. One quick analogy that I like to think about when we're thinking about any type of massage modality, again, not bad if you want to decompress, but think about when you get like a bug bite, right? Your first, or even stretching would be a great way to think about this too, passive stretching, especially with beauty professionals, because I feel like that's kind of their first and almost only line of attack for things. You're not contracting your muscles significantly enough to think that they're tight. There's no way. You're holding your body in position. You're not holding heavy things. You're not lifting things continuously, right? So what the fuck are we stretching, right? We're loose. And most women, I'm gonna target women specifically on this, have additional subluxation of their tendons, which means they're able to give childbirth, their pelvis is able to move, their hips are able to move, so their body can actually contort to be able to create another human being. So they're extra stretchy, they're extra big. So when we're thinking about stretching or even massage in this example, right? Say I get a bug bite, mosquito lands on me, and all of a sudden I get that swelling. My first instinct, because I feel a sensation, is to scratch. Oh my God, that feels so fucking great. Then what happens? I let it go. Oh my God, it itches more. You've created more inflammation in that area. If we're talking about recovering, we may need to have a different approach, right? That wasn't the right approach. Our body recognizes that it needs a sensation. We think we're intelligent enough with no background to apply the correct sensation. It's often the wrong sensation. And just because you can get pain to go away temporarily, How would you like to have pain tent go away permanently? And that's what I deal with. Is I'm dealing with a lot of people that have gone to physical therapy, that have gone to massage therapists and chiropractors for decades, and they don't see a lasting result. Like, well, it worked for a little bit, but I've done. But look at all these printed out sheets that they gave me. That's adorable. Every time someone passes me those, I throw them in the fucking air dramatically, like I'm throwing around $1,000, like $100 bills. I don't care about that stuff. It does not work. It's not a proactive approach. It's not a physical approach. Physical therapy to me is the most passive modality you could do besides massage therapy for the most part. Unless that practitioner understands how to progressively strengthen your tissues and not just deal with your dysfunction and then send you on your way. You're not dealing with the correct person. You're not dealing with the correct mentality. You're not learning how to address your own problems. So long story long, please stop being passive only. Still do the stuff that makes you feel good, but wake up and start to understand you need to do the shit that's hard in order to create enough of a challenge, enough of a stress response for your body to progress and facilitate a new challenge and then progress again, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think so. I think anybody who's watching and listening to this, they if this this point can help them create the connection, like think about mastering your craft. Like it's an ongoing, continuing thing. You never ever will arrive at being the best or being your best. It is a constant need to educate and collaborate and practice. And so it just sounds like, it's not just in your craft, it's also in how you treat your body, what you put in it, how you think about things. So um yeah, I think this was a great conversation. I really appreciate you taking the time, and this is great. Is there? I mean, I feel like you've definitely driven like a couple points home, but I wanted to give you a chance to kind of, as we wrap it up, make any last statements about any messages or anything that you wanna hand out to people before we sign off.
Yes, sir. Just really quickly, one last thing. Again, I'm kind of reiterating the same point, but I want to articulate it maybe slightly different for some people that may have gone over their head. If you're dealing with a 3 pound hair dryer, if you're dealing with a few ounce roll brush, and your body is beat to shit at the end of the day, then you weren't prepared enough to provide your body the right things for the task at hand. You need to start to wake up and realize you're the tool. It doesn't matter about your special ergonomic blow dryer, your special brush. Those are all great. I'm not saying don't spend money on those. If they feel better in your hand, if they're useful for you, great. If they're not going to solve your only problem, all your problems. Don't look for a special shoe. Instead, make your foot fucking stronger. The problem with most people's feet is the muscles are so flaccid and passive, they don't actually know how to stabilize. You should have strength on the bottom of your foot like a strong grip in your hand. If your wrists hurt you, it's because you have a weak grip. It's because you have weak forearms. You're not challenging these things. And if that's the only thing that you're picking up, think about that. Your body will never get stronger. And maybe it's time that you pick up something that weighs 5 pounds continuously. I'm not saying get a heavier hairdryer. I'm saying go in and train specifically for your job because you're the tool. And when you can't work, you can't make money. And when you can't work, you can't progress at your craft. And when you can't work, you can't enjoy and create the art that I know that you all love to create. So create the environment that allows you to do that. Be strong, be proactive. Stop being a statistic in your industry. Stop accepting and being complacent. Please wake up. And if you need any help, please, that's what we're here for. Reach out, DM, get us on Instagram, reach us through email, whatever you need. This is what I'm here to do. I'm here to be of service to you because you guys and you women are of service for everyone else.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much again for taking the time and coming on the show and sharing all this with everybody. I'm sure many people will find it valuable. So thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate your time.
All right. Well, until next time, have a good one and tell Jenny I said hey.
100%. We'll do it.
All right. See ya.
Hey, brother.